you personally, how would you say that your own experiences in life have shaped the way you think about race, racial issues, and social reform as a whole?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's a very good question. I think that my experiences have had a significant input on the way I feel about race and social change. I grew up in, my story is a little different than yours. I grew up in a historically black community in a moderately sized city in the Midwest, where people really don't normally associate that city with African American people. But it's Omaha, Nebraska. This is where I grew up. There is a large black community there that's mainly made up of people who left the South during the so-called Great Migration, and they moved north. I have grandparents that moved out of Texas, and I have on my mother's side. And on my father's side, my father and his brother, and later his father, they all came from North Carolina. So I'm from the east and from the the South, I guess, and they met in Nebraska. So I grew up there and in a predominantly black community, and I could see the struggles that people had every day in dealing with issues that weren't fair, whether those issues were dealing with the city government, trying to get jobs, dealing with access to facilities like parks or restaurants and things of that nature. I mean, and it was far better in a place in the north like Nebraska than it would have been in the south like Florida. And I know a little bit about Florida because my father was in the Air Force, which is what got him to Nebraska in the first place. And he was stationed in South Florida for a while, and I grew up there for a while. And I remember leaving the Miami area and driving to see my grandmother in Nebraska and having, to pack everything that we had. And we would use the restroom my father would pull off on the side of the road, and we'd go in the bushes because we could not go into gas stations or, restaurants or hotels or anything like that while we were in the South. It wasn't until we got to the North. So I think that all of those experiences have shaped my perspective on race and why I think struggling against racism is so important.